guys, and welcome back to Reading Realm, to the very last video of 2025. That is wild to say. It feels like this year has gone by very, very quickly. Stuff has been really busy for me a lot of this year, so unfortunately, I did not get a chance to finish my entire reading list for this year, but that is okay, because I'm here with the final update of the year. And I'm excited to also reveal what I'm going to be reading next year in a video tomorrow. So for everyone watching this today, Happy New Year's Eve. I can't believe that it is already the end of the year. And I will be posting a video today that is the end of the year video, and then I'll be posting a video tomorrow as well, which will be my 2026 reading list, which will also be carrying over all of the books that I did not manage to finish reading this year, plus adding some new ones. So, starting off with the 5 books that I managed to finish since my last update in September. I did fully finish The Nightmare Before Christmas, and as I was saying in that review, it's very hard to show it because it is reflective and glares, and also purple on black, so a little hard to see, but I have finished that book. Also, similarly somewhat to the sort of Halloween theme, A Monster Calls. I finished this as well. Like I said when I reviewed it, amazing book, amazing art. I loved it very, very much. And we have The Wanderer, which I also finished pretty recently. It was a lot of fun to read, and also the song that I used for the short that I did for this book actually is a song that my dad used to sing to me as a lullaby when I was little, so that's kind of a fun thing there, and I actually told my dad that I used that song, and he was like, "Aw!" And then I have finished Sun Warrior by PC Cast, the second one by her that I finished this year. I really wanted to finish the whole series this year, but unfortunately I just did not have time, so the last 2 will be reviews for 2026. Very, very good book, though. Very good series. I loved it all so much. And then the last book that I fully finished reading this year is Storm Thief, which was so cool. It was my most recent video. I had wanted to do another, but stuff got really hectic, and I was traveling for the holidays, and it was my birthday, and everything was just so chaotic that I unfortunately did not finish another book in time to do a review. But that leads me to the ones that I had in progress that I have not finished and cannot review yet, but that I am reading actively right now. So again, like I mentioned earlier, because it's been in progress for a long time, Sincerely Your Autistic Child, this will be on the 2026 reading list. And like I talked about before, this book is a little bit hard to read quickly just because I am highlighting and annotating it for my parents to enjoy and learn about me. So I'm about this far in right now, so I'd say probably about a third, maybe a little less than a third of the way in, but so far it has been really enjoyable, I guess. It's enjoyable in like a somewhat difficult way because it can be really validating for me, but it can also be hard to read about some of the experiences that I feel like should not have happened to anyone that I have also experienced. So because of that, it makes it a little bit difficult, and that, I think, is one of the reasons it has taken me so long, but I will finish it, and I will give it to my parents next year. And then we have Windrider. Like I said, PC Cast, this book is absolutely amazing, and I am about this far in. I'd say it's a little under a fifth. There are 517 pages, and I'm on page 91. So, absolutely love this book. I want to read it right now. I probably will read it later tonight. It's very, very, very good. And I just did not have time to actually finish it and review it, but I love it, and I have a lot of things already, even only this far in, to say about it when I finally do get around to reviewing it. And then finally, this one has been listed on my paper as in progress since the very beginning of the year, and I have not finished it, but I will say I am in the last half now, this far in. This is The Cellar, and this book, I think part of the reason why I was sort of avoiding this one is because I talked to a friend who had read it, and she told me some of the content that happens in it. And so, because I was aware of that beforehand, instead of letting the book suck me in and getting to that naturally and sort of seeing it in the context that it was, because it is a pretty dark topic, I somewhat was avoiding it because I'm like, I don't know if I'm in the right mindset to read that at this particular moment. I want to read something else, and so I kept pushing it off. But now that I'm actually, like, past the part where I was initially sort of stalling because of, it is very compelling, and I will probably finish this very, very soon. This will probably be the first review of 2026, because I'm close to finishing it. I mean, I'm only a little bit over halfway, but it is definitely starting to suck me in where I lose track of time reading it, so I think it will probably be done pretty quickly. So I will definitely be reviewing this pretty early into 2026, and so that is what I have read or am in progress of reading by the end, but I figure I should do a recap of what I actually did finish, and I'm not going to be saying everything that was on this list that I haven't read in this video, because I'm going to be talking about that in my 2026 reading list video, because they are carrying over. But since I only showed the things that I have finished since September's update, or the things that I'm currently in progress on, I think it makes sense to say the other books that I did actually finish this year and review, and also some of the early reviews this year were things that were actually not on this list that I had actually read the year before and just hadn't filmed. So, for books that I actually read and reviewed this year, I read I Could Pee on This, the funny cat poetry book. I read Brute, which was the only poetry book for this year, but I enjoyed it. Storm Thief, like I just mentioned. I read Sweet and Bitter Magic, which was very cool. It was the only LGBTQ plus book that I managed to finish this year. I do have another one on this list that is going to be carrying over, and hopefully I'm going to try and time it so that I can review that in June, as well as another one for next year that is also got some queer characters, so I'm excited about that. And I read and reviewed The Twin, the other Natasha Preston book, other than The Cellar, that I was working on this year, and also You Will Be Mine. I read and reviewed, so both Natasha Preston, Awake, and The Party I have not finished or read this year, so those will be on next year's. And then The Wanderer I did finish, like I just mentioned, A Monster Calls. And then I read and reviewed A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, as well as Good Girl, Bad Blood, and As Good as Dead, which were the trilogy, plus Killjoy, which was the prequel. Those were all really interesting, and I really enjoyed them. And thank you once again to the person who recommended that I read and review those, because I don't know that I would have if I hadn't had that recommendation. It was very, very cool to read. Sun Warrior, I just finished within the last few months, so I've mentioned. And then Sunrise on the Reaping was a really big one. I think out of all of the books that I reviewed this year, that's the one that's the most talked about in mainstream media. I feel like a lot of these ones are ones that I feel like I've never heard of before. I've never heard anyone talk about Storm Thief or some of the other ones, but it's all over social media. Sunrise on the Reaping. Everyone's talking about the movie, everyone's talking about the book, everyone's going back and reading the original trilogy because of the book. That one's been huge all over everywhere. So I'm happy that I was able to read it and review it before I got too many spoilers just from seeing things, because everyone was talking about it. And then Once Upon a Broken Heart, The Ballad of Never After, and A Curse for True Love, I absolutely loved, and those, along with Sunrise on the Reaping, were the ones that I added later into the year, compared to the original list that I had at the beginning of last year, or this year, I guess, for another couple hours. But they were all amazing. That trilogy, that author, I'm so obsessed with that author. I love it. And so looking over this list of everything I read, I had 42 things on this list, and 23 of them I did not finish. So I would say, considering everything I had going on this year, I'm not actually too upset about that. 3 of them are in progress. 23 of them, including those 3 I finished, so 20 of them I have not started. But all the others I read. It was very, very fun, and so I feel like I would be really interested to hear what people's favorite book that any of you read this year was. I have to say, I think the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy was probably my favorite this year, just because I love that author, I love the world building, it's amazing. Moonchosen and Sun Warrior are also high up on that list with the amazing world building. All the books were so good for different reasons, but I think I will also say, it's so hard to pick. I think Sweet and Bitter Magic was also very, very good. And I loved the queer dynamic in it. I think that was really well written, and the world building in that was interesting. And then I will say the A Good Girl's Guide to Murder series, I think, was another one in the top books that I read this year, just because I was really pleasantly surprised with what that series was. And like I said in the review, I feel like the author very easily could have turned the protagonist into a damsel in distress in the 3rd book. She did not, which I think if she had, it would have ruined everything for me, because that character is very intelligent and very self-sufficient, and I think the fact that she maintained that was very, very good. The ending of that book was so good, so satisfying. The ending of A Curse for True Love was also extremely satisfying, and I absolutely loved it. Again, reading a Natasha Preston book right now, I am worried about the ending of that, because as history has shown, a lot of the endings of those books are problematic, and I don't enjoy them very much, because they always end in the worst cliffhangers possible, and I hate it. But one thing that I did talk about, I believe during my review of The Twin, which, let me know if this is something you want to see in 2026, is a tier list of endings of Natasha Preston books based only on the last page or last line of the book. Because I feel like comparing them for the whole book is kind of hard, because some of them are really good, and then the last page just destroys it and pisses me off so much it kind of taints the whole book. But then others, it's like, yeah, okay, the ending of that was Okay, I guess. But anyway, let me know if you would like to see that. I'm really excited to share my 2026 reading list, including the books that the viewers, helped me to select from the polls I did on my channel, so I'm really excited about that as well. And I'm glad that I can kind of get some more interactivity into what you want me to read or what you want to see reviews of, because I think that that is fun to know what people watching are interested in. So I'm really, really excited. This is kind of the first year that I've been back really seriously working on the channel. I sort of started it up again in 2024, kind of on and off a little bit after kind of abandoning the channel for several years because I just did not have enough time to read that much from starting college up until a little while ago. So I'm really glad I'm finally back, and hopefully I'll have more time to read this coming year and be able to actually get all these reviews done, hopefully, because I'm really excited about all the books that I'm going to be reading, so I really, really, really want to actually finish them. I had 42 on this list by the end of the year, and so that is my goal for next year, is 42 books again, and that will include the 23 that are carrying over, plus the new ones. And then depending on how it goes through the year, I may add more, I may not. But I'm really, really, really excited. I feel like even though I had a couple months where I didn't post and a few weeks here and there where I didn't post this year, this kind of feels like the first real year where I've been actively working really hard on the channel and actively thinking about it a lot more and sort of planning for it and making shorts and making social media other than YouTube about it and sort of putting a lot more energy into it. And I'm really, really happy with everything that I've accomplished so far. So I cannot wait to see what I can accomplish in the next year, and hopefully everyone else who wants to watch will enjoy the reviews next year as well. Let me know what you've read this year or what your favorite thing that you read this year was and what you're excited to read in the coming year. And thank you all so much for supporting me this year and enjoying sharing our love of reading. So let me know what you've enjoyed and what you think was the best book that you read, because that's always fun to share. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe. It would really help me out. And keep reading. Bye!